Hello everyone and welcome to Brown Coat Reviews. As many of you know, I'm your host Laura. So I'm actually going to give a quick little intro for this video because since I shot this video, I have a new update for you. Now, one of the concerns that I had when I looked back at some of my footage that I'd taken at the shop, Play4LIFE Comics, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, some of the footage wasn't very clear. Some of it I had to really rush with because there were other people in the shop, and of course because of COVID, I wanted to give them an opportunity to shop and of course not take anything away from the store, but I felt that you as a viewer, you were missing something, a lot of key elements about the store, and certainly about the story behind the place. So I reached out to Play4 Comics and I asked if the owner would be all right with doing an interview with me and giving me an opportunity to do a kind of more in-depth video for you all. And he agreed. So next week we're going to have a video talking about Play4LIFE Comics. We're going to talk about their live shows. We're going to talk about sort of where they started here in Wake Forest, North Carolina, and how they've progressed and certainly how they've responded to COVID so wonderfully. So this video is definitely going to be focusing more on what I purchased, which I apologize now. I grabbed a couple comic books, but we are actually going to talk more about the individual shop next week. So tune in for part 2 of this video, and thank you so much for watching. Now, before we get started with the video, I just wanted to give you a couple reminders. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And also don't forget to check out my Instagram account. So what I'm doing on Instagram is I'm posting, different photos and different things that I'm finding around town, whether it's at the comic book shops, different titles that I'm reading, and it also gives you an opportunity to give some feedback on some of the reviews that you would like to see first or foremost, or are there titles that I'm reading that you definitely recommend or things that you suggest that I put a little bit higher up on the reading list. So it's Brown Coat Reviews, of course, over there on Instagram. It is linked down in the description of this video. I've also included the link to the Facebook page for Play4LIFE Comics. Check it out, and I will see you all very, very soon. Now, today we are going to talk about one of the local comic book shops called Play4LIFE Comics. Now, they had an anniversary sale, so they have been here in Wake Forest for 5 years. They decided to do an anniversary sale in shop, so it was 50% off of all back issues, 20% off of new issues, and then comic, so graphic novel trade paperbacks. They did have some trade paperbacks and hardcovers that are not graphic novel related, and those were 50% off. So, you ready to see what I found? So one of the first things that I want to show you, it's just cute. So we haven't talked very much about it, but one of my favorite among many TV shows, or at least comic related TV shows, is Gotham. So this is a really, really cute magnet of Catwoman, or at least Cat who becomes Catwoman. I thought it was adorable. I love that character in Gotham. It's brilliantly done. I highly recommend that TV series. So this was definitely a magnet that needed to show up on our fridge. Now, these two are You Being Served? So this is Are You Being Served Again? And then this is Are You Being Served the movie? Now, I grew up with British comedies. So I think it was either Friday or Saturday night, you had Keeping Up Appearances, Waiting for God, then you always took a break, flipped channels to watch MASH, and then you came back for the 11 o'clock showing of Are You Being Served? And that was always kind of like the highlight of the evening, and then you were done. I love the series. I have a set of the television show, but I don't have these. And it ended up being $2 for each, and definitely in. Now, the other one that was actually really, really fun, so I didn't realize that my husband had also watched this series. I had been a huge fan when it first came out, was Dark Angel, the original Jessica Alba movie. So this is season 1 and season 2. Season 2. I loved this show, and we started rewatching it, and it's still amazing. I definitely recommend it. The only thing that's odd is it's really hard to find right now. If you go up on Amazon, you can find a brand new copy of it for $100, but who has $100 to spend on DVDs. So these were a total of $8. Again, I think I can live with that. But it was an amazing show, and it's actually technically the only time that James Cameron has done a television series. So if you haven't watched Dark Angel before, definitely recommend it. As far as I know, there's no comic book series, but hey, if I'm wrong about that and there's a comic book series about Dark Angel, please tell me in the comments because I want to find it. I told you that they had trade paperbacks and then of course they had hardcovers. So my husband grabbed a couple. This was Q 1986, The Turning Point of the American War in Vietnam. Actually looked good. The Dark History of Kings and Queens of Europe, from Medieval Tyrants to Mad Monarchs. You can tell there's just a little hint of history there. And if my mother is watching, I'm sorry, turn away for like the next minute and a half. I bought her an early Christmas gift. So I've hinted that I watched Star Trek, of course, in my youth. Now, my mother was the fan of the original series. My father was the fan of The Next Generation. My mother's favorite character, actor of all time definitely was Leonard Nimoy. So I found at the shop, this is William Shatner's book called Leonard. It's the 50-year friendship with a remarkable man. It's like, oh, if my mother hasn't read this yet, she needs to. So like, we need to grab it. Mom, it's safe for you to watch now. So on to the comic books. There were many, many boxes that I went through. I did go through the Spawn, grabbed some good stuff. But I was trying to be really good, and I tried sticking with either series that I was dying to check out, series that I've already started collecting, and I definitely found a lot. There were 3 specific boxes that I really honed in on that were the recent new releases that they had just put into the back issues. And the way the owner had said it was me going through those boxes was saving him having to bag and board them. So I was very happy to take those off his hand. The first one is The Department of Truth. This is actually the second printing of issue number 1 and issue number 2. There will be a video where we talk about this. Obviously, this is James Tynion IV series about conspiracy theories. And it is very appropriate considering what has been going on in our nation. Do you trust, whether it's the truth, do you trust the media? Is everything that we've come to believe factual? This was a huge page turner, and I'm definitely looking for the rest. I knew I wanted to check it out just from, a lot of the hype and the artwork around it. By the time I realized I definitely wanted to read it, all the first, issues 1 and 2 were gone. I was waiting for the trade paperback, but now I don't have to, so I've got the first 2. Now I just have to find the rest, or I will pretend to be patient and wait for the trade paperback. I lack patience most of the time, so I have a feeling I'm going to be digging around town. Ultimate Comics, beware, I'm coming. Now, I talked to you a little bit about Spawn with my last video with BJ Kickstarted it. I really like the artwork, and I'm starting to kind of like the character. So, like I said, starting to dig into Spawn. We'll talk about him more, but I was purposefully looking for anything that was really popping. When I dug through the box of Spawn titles, I only wanted Spawn, not the sub-series within Spawn. And then I was also looking for some of the more unique covers. So this is the Virgin variant done by Greg Capullo. I thought it was gorgeous. They did have the trade version of this, but anytime there's a Virgin variant available and it is the exact same price as the trade, I'm going to get the Virgin variant. Now this one, this beauty. There was an Ultimate Comics Live Halloween special. Great show. I hope they do it again next year. I loved it. One of the things that they showcased was this particular version, or at least this cover of Spawn. One of my good friends, Chris, was on the show. I believe he ended up with it, and there was only 1 copy, so there were multiple of us that just missed the cutoff to claim a copy of this exact cover of Spawn. But When I saw it in the shop, it was mine. It was destined to be. Thank you very much. Now, my husband was the one who saw this one, and this is Wonder Woman Harley's Little Black Book. Yes, we're kind of collecting some of the Harley Quinn issues, but what he really, really liked, and I agreed with him on, was the look that's shared between Harley and Wonder Woman. The rolling of the eyes, and then Harley Quinn still just being obnoxious and being Harley Quinn. It was just really, really adorable. Had to get it, and especially for the price, why not? Now, this is the 2020 run of Suicide Squad. My husband has started collecting it kind of after it has started, and he was able to get issues 1 through 6 and 8 through, I believe he has 12. I could be wrong. Whatever the current issue is, that's what he has. So, sorry if I'm incorrect. Basically, we were missing issue number 7. They had it over at Play4Comics. I was able to grab it. One of the other sneaky little titles that I am very slowly collecting is Carnage. So when I saw this is the Scream Curse of Carnage, beyond the fact that the cover looks amazing, just had to have it. Scream is one of those characters that I'm curious about, so getting issue number 1 was just a really great opportunity to see it, and then if it stinks, I don't feel like I've lost as much. This one was a really cool find. So this is King in Black, issue number 1. It is a variant cover, but it is printing number 1. Now, there is a King in Black short box with the art print, and it actually has these cool little ghouls on them. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, gotta grab it. It is, you know, the Donny Cates issue number 1. So yes, I want to read it, but I was really, really excited to find that particular art print to kind of go with my little box. And this one, of course, is the Joker. So this is Batman 95. This is particularly the Joker War. We have this particular cover. I have the Jimenez cover, and we bought the regular A cover. So this is the cardstock variant cover, which is gorgeous. Definitely pops off the page. Just another one of those really great finds. They're harder and harder to find some of the Joker War issues now, and I couldn't resist. I had to grab it. Now, do you see this pile? This is why my husband is afraid to take me to comic book shops. I cannot be trusted, especially when there's a sale going on. So, once upon a time, there was an Ultimate Comics live show. And one of the things that Tarny, who is one of the hosts, does is he will put together a long box. And when he does a long box, he does the entire run. And he does also all the, mini-series, sub-issues within that individual storyline. Long box. So he did one for Spawn, which was amazing. Chris, that was a great grab. But then he also did one for Sandman. That one I was seriously tempted to grab. I didn't, because it was a pretty penny, but oh, it would have been so amazing to grab that one. So I let it go. But what I've been slowly, very, very, very slowly trying to do is create my own Neil Gaiman box. When Ultimate Comics has a warehouse sale, one of the first things that I try and find is if there's a Neil Gaiman cover, and especially if I don't already have it, it's coming home with me. So they had some Neil Gaiman. I will try and run through these very, very quickly because I don't want to bore you with things that make me giddy, but the rest of the world would be like, oh my gosh, it's another Neil Gaiman cover. Wow. Sorry. So we have House of Whispers. So this is issue 16, 15, and 14. We have The Dreaming, which I really like the pumpkins on this one. I know, I gotta think for Halloween. You will see when we get closer to Halloween. I love Halloween. So anything Halloween-esque, I'm totally there. We had 15, and yes, I have issue 16. Perfect. The Dreaming Waking Hours, issue number 1. A little Shakespeare on there. I haven't read this yet, so now I'm a little more intrigued. Books of Magic. So this is issues 18, 16, 15, 14, and 13. Yay! Books of Magic has always been described to me as Neil Gaiman's Harry Potter before there was Harry Potter. Which, I'm a Harry Potter fan, so really excited. The other one, of course, is Lucifer. So this is issues 17, 16, 13. The last Sandman is Hellblazer. So I have 2 different covers of Hellblazer 1. So this one technically says Sandman presents Hellblazer, and then this is Sandman Universe John Constantine Hellblazer. I didn't have any time to figure out what differences there were in these, but I did look at the barcodes, and the barcodes are different. It could just be 2 different covers of the exact same thing, but both of them say that they're the A cover of issue number 1 first print. So I don't know. I could be wrong, and I could end up with 2 of the exact same issue. They just have 2 different covers. I don't know. But like I said, I didn't have time. I was in a rush. And it's Sandman, it's Constantine. We're going to take it. We have issue 12, issue 11, and issue 10. You all still with me? Did I lose you over the Neil Gaiman? I'm so sorry. But it's Neil Gaiman. So, last quick ones. Whew. Oblivion Song. This is issue number 29. If you haven't read this series yet, highly recommend it. It is a Robert Kirkman series, so that's the same guy who wrote The Walking Dead. Oblivion Song is very unique. We will talk about Oblivion Song, another video. Next one was Crossover, issue number 2. I did not get into Crossover, and I was purposefully trying not to collect a ton of different events. There were so many going on at the same time, so Crossover was one of those, along with King in Black, that I just said, you know what, we're going to wait for the trade paperback. If it's that good, we'll grab it then. So finding this particular one, which I think the cover is great, it gives me a chance to check out the series. If it's great, then obviously I know to grab the trade. If it's not really my thing, then I've lost nothing. This is Daredevil number 19. My husband started collecting these, I want to say around issue 21 or 23. So we did not have issue 19, so this was a great find. Killadelphia. Killadelphia is another series that everyone has been talking about. But again, it's like Something is Killing the Children. And obviously, Department of Truth. I find out about it when we're all on issue number 10, and by then the individual issues are gone. So issue number 10 was actually a cover that was done by J. Scott Campbell, so yes, of course, I grabbed it. But this is issue number 9, and I just kind of thought to myself, well, if I want to check it out, and I do eventually get into this series, it would be good to maybe get a couple connecting ones, read it, see if it's my forte, and then kind of go from there. And the last one is a series called The Autumnal. So this is issue number 1, 3, and 4. I did find issue number 2 over at Ultimate Comics Raleigh. Thank you, Danny, so much for helping. I remember when this came out, I saw the cover on one of the Ultimate Comics live shows, and I'm sorry, this cover is fascinating. It's scary. It's just a little dark and twisty. I love my dark and twisty series. So I looked at it and I remember being intrigued. And then I remember looking at my pull list and looking at my husband's pull list and deciding that I was going to have to let it go. But kept telling myself if I ever saw it, I was going to grab it. So for a whole whopping $6, I grabbed it. I've already read it. It's awesome. Definitely recommend it. So that is the end of the Play for Life comics box that I grabbed. We did not spend a lot of time in the store, so I will say from the boxes that I looked through, I found stuff that I wanted to buy immediately. The things that I put back, there was a Carnage cover that was a premium cover that I really, really seriously thought about grabbing. Didn't, again, because I'm like, well, would I rather have, I think it was $12 or $15 for the premium cover. Not a big deal compared to some of the other premium covers that I've grabbed. But I was like, all right, do I want to spend $12 on one premium cover, or would I rather have 6 NeilGaimans? So I chose the 6 NeilGaimans, carried on. Would I go back to Play for Life's comics? Absolutely. Absolutely. It was definitely worth it. The gentleman who owns the place was very nice, and he may be able to find one of the series that I'm missing some really random titles on. So that's really exciting. They were mostly doing this anniversary sale to also make room for some of the other items that are in their warehouse. So more stock is coming. I was really impressed, and considering all of this was a whole whopping, I think we spent $86 with tax. It's not bad at all. Do I even know how many comics are in this box? No, but I can definitely tell you it is way over 8. And it is definitely more than 16. So definitely got our money's worth. We'll be reading all of it, have already started reading some of it. Another reason why I needed to get this video out, so that way I can start reading it and putting it away when I'm done. Thank you all for tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Don't forget to check out our new Instagram account over here at Brown Coat Reviews. All the information about the Instagram account, Play for Life comics, all that's here in the description box. Don't forget to join in next time, and have a wonderful day.